Hi everybody, this is Felicia. Today I'm going to be using my silk screen from Studio Calico, and that came with the embellishment kit for the January 2015. And what I'm doing right now is my paint is so old, you guys. I'm mixing it with a little bit of water, which is what you can do instead of throwing it out. And it's by Making Memories, and it's called Specialty Glazed Pearl. So while I'm doing that, mixing it all up with some water there, I'm going to talk about the silk screen. Now the silk screen has like these little tiny holes in it, and the adhesive can go right on directly on your layout, and it doesn't tear or anything like that. And what you're supposed to do with this process is use a really heavy duty like old credit card or old expired medical card, which I don't know what I did with mine. I think I probably already cut it up and tossed it out. But anyway, what you do is you smooth that along there, make it as smooth as possible, and then it lifts up there very easily, and then you have your design. So I'm going to do this twice on this layout. It can get messy, you know, and if you don't mind the mistakes and stuff that happens, then you'll like the way the silk screen works. It works really well. So you can see I'm trying to get to the edges without going over the edges. And then you just smooth it out real good there. And you peel it up. There you go. So I'm going to set that aside to dry for a little while. And in the meantime, to clean off the silk screen, you just use a baby wipe. And the mat that I'm using is also from Ranger, and that is that craft mat that just, it takes everything. So now I'm going to start on the rest of the layout while that's drying. And this layout is going to be about my daughter and her husband and their two kids. The pattern paper I'm using is from the Far Away kit, the Studio Calico kit there for the month of January. And that piece is a scrap from a 8x8 paper pad. I don't know where it came from. So anyway, I'm getting ready to use my large Marvy punch to punch out this scallop circle there. I like those Marvy punches. They're cool. So I'm going to put together here the whole entire layout, and there they are, the family there, all four of those guys. I'm going to mat it first on the American Crafts white cardstock, and then cut off a little bit of the trim on the side and kind of leave a little bit of space up there so I can do some embellishing. Rounding the corners there. Kind of looks like an upside down Polaroid photo. Putting together all the elements that are going to be going on the page, including those labels there, gold labels. Now the gold labels came from this month's Freckled Fawn kit. Let's see, so I'm going to be cutting those stars in those rectangles, in half because I want them to be smaller. And those houses right there, they came from the, let's see, I think it was a Freckled Fawn kit, and I don't remember what month, but that's where they came from. They're cork, and they have a adhesive backing to them. So I'm going to be peeling off a few of those houses and kind of placing them on some of my plastic there. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges there of that scallop circle with an ink from Jenny Bolin, and it's called Brown Sugar. Inking them really good there so that that can stand out. And I'm going to also ink the edges of that tag. And that came from the embellishment kit for this month as well. It came with a couple other tags too. Now I'm figuring out, I got a piece of a branding strip there because I like that color, and it matches that photo perfectly actually. Alright, so those are dry. I'm going to stick those in. Putting all the elements down there on the left side, and I'm tapping my fingers for something. Okay, so I decided to take a photo of the layout so I can get the basic idea of what I'm heading for and what I want to do on this layout. And I'm still thinking for some reason here. Alright, so then I start gluing down all the elements there. The doily also came with the embellishment kit for this month as well. Putting all this stuff down. Now that photo was taken in 2011 when the kids were small, and now they're a little older. They're 4 and 6. I think they were almost 1 and almost 2 when they took this photo here. Almost 1 and almost 3. Getting that stripped down. So I'm going to start putting on the elements, and here's where I put the labels on, but I put too big of a gap between them, so I'm going to fill that gap up with something else. And I'm using my multimedia mat from Ranger to glue down the triangles there, making sure they're stuck down real good. Alrighty, so I'm getting that done. And I'm making sure that I have all of these houses placed down in the proper place there. But I eventually move them, at least the bottom 2. So now I am trying to look for a piece to fill that gap, and I'm definitely going to take that little gold little banner thing that I have there to put down in the gap. Pulled out some tabs, placing some arrows down. I eventually take the arrows off because I don't like them. For some reason I just didn't like where they were located. So now, after fiddling around with that a little bit there, got the triangles down, I'm going to start gluing down the cork pieces that I pulled out for embellishments. And that particular house I just have in my hand, I wanted to make it a little shorter, so I cut off some of the bottom there and put that on. And then I'm going to take that and put it right between that gap, which is where I needed it to go. Putting down the houses, making sure they're down really good. And see, there you go, I changed the position of those 2 houses. Putting the rest of the cork embellishments down from off of that sheet there. I'm trying to use that sheet up as much as possible because it's been around for over a year now, so it's time to use it up. So now I'm going to be using some of the Kelly Purkey washi tape there, and that came in one of the early on Kelly Purkey Project Life kits, and those kits were awesome, but they don't even make them anymore. I was getting those through Simon Says Stamp, and they don't make them anymore. But those kits, those Kelly Purkey Project Life kits, were packed full of cards and embellishments beyond belief. They were really nice. So I'm going down the tabs there in the areas there, and one of the tabs I'm going to use as a date, and the other tab says something else. It says together. So now I'm taking out these alphas, and these alphas are by Jelly Bean Soup, and I've had those for a little while, and I like the color and the fact that they got print on them. The print on them is really cool. Looks like newspaper print. It's really nice, and they're kind of like a cream colored. And I'm going to be staggering these because I like the look of them being staggered. And Tunstall Love. Tunstall is the last name of my daughter's husband, and hers now, and the children. And then that's the love part is just what it is. It's Tunstall Love. Love is not part of his last name. So I'm going to ground it here with some gold Kelly Purkey washi tape. And that's what I'm using as a guide right there. I have to use my multimedia mat from Ranger to glue these chipboards down because they're not super sticky at all. And it seems like that is what chipboard does. It's just not very sticky. I don't know why sometimes, but as far as the alpha is concerned, they're not very sticky. So I'm gluing those down, and like I said, I'm using some of the dots and the tape there as a guide to make it an even make the staggering even. And I'm going to use the word love there to stagger the rest of the letters. So there I'm going there. And I just want to say that these alphas, like I said, I bought them back in 2000 and I think it was 12. And they've been around for a while. As you can see, is 2015. And I have so many of them, and I want to use them up now instead of just kind of hoarding them. I tend to do that from time to time. And I don't know if they still even make these anymore, so. Alrighty, so I got all of those glued down. And now there's a couple other things that I'm going to be putting on here before I decide to call it done. And that is, I'm going to grab some of the lawn fawn twine there. And I like this stuff because it's very thick. Lawn fawn makes really nice things, you guys. I mean, I've gotten stamps from them, paper from them, and dies, and they really make good stuff there. So I'm tying this into a bow, trying to get it so it kind of hangs a little bit. And I'm going to use some glossy accents on the knot so that it doesn't come undone. Alrighty, now I'm going to grab my pearls, and those pearls are from the Freckled Fawn kit for this month. And I'm going to stagger those in 3 different areas on the layout there in clusters of 3. So now that I've got that all done, taking a look at it, fluffing up the doily, and there you have it. Thanks guys for watching, and take care.